Well, it's time for the Champions League final. Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund at Wembley this Saturday night, and the big team's ready to discuss all things. Before I bring in my European football mate, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. See my DK Best Ball stream. It could be baseball, football, golf, you name it. Also, check out the Big D podcast for the audio listeners, Spotify and Apple. So join me, the only guy who can talk Dolphins, Jags, and Europe's biggest match, Charlie Mullan. So Charlie, Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. Exactly the final we predicted. What 6, 7, 8 months ago, right?
Hello, Dylan. Thanks for having me on again. Borussia Dortmund were nailed on to make the final. It was just a case of who they were going to play. No, seriously, Dortmund, they've come through the back door, and fair play to them. Maybe the last few rounds, the draw was quite easy for them, and I say that very sort of tongue-in-cheek because getting to the final of the Champions League is never easy. You've got to beat some good teams to get there. However, on the other side of the draw, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Man City. That's quite a formidable lineup of teams. And Paris Saint-Germain as well, of course, in that side of the draw as well, wasn't it? So, Dortmund, it's been a little kinder for them to get to the final. But hey, they're in the final, and it comes down to 90 minutes at Wembley. Just down the road from where I live. So, it's about a 4-hour drive, but nevertheless, it's just down the road. It's a long road. And hopefully Wembley can serve up a final fitting for the Champions League final.
Yeah, because when the quarterfinal draw was made, I bet you everybody was hoping for Borussia Dortmund, and Atletico Madrid was thinking, we're going to get to Wembley and maybe get another Madrid derby. Not exactly.
No, that hasn't worked out that way. And like I said, the draw was more favourable on Borussia Dortmund's side of things. But they've got to the final. They've won it before. It was back in the 90s. I know that, but it's a great story for Dortmund and the yellow wall, and in a neutral venue, anything can happen, and I'm looking forward to the final. It should be a good one.
Yeah, Borussia Dortmund last won the Champions League in '97, beating Juve in Munich. Dortmund was in the last Champions League final at Wembley, losing their Iron Robin and Bayern Munich. I'm trying to see if I can say this right. Der Klassiker is my German.
Yes. Yep, they're Klassiker. Mm-hmm.
And but be honest with you, when I see Dortmund play this year, they've got that underdog. They've got that underdog spirit.
Yes, they do. There's no star players when you go through that Dortmund team. Sure, they've got some flair players like Jadon Sancho, who, he will be relishing the opportunity to play in the final at Wembley. He's an England international. He's got a chance of making the Euros. Well, I'm not sure if he is in the initial squad, actually, to be honest. But he's got a point to prove after how things turned out for him at Manchester United. And it would be ironic if he was discarded by Manchester United and he goes on to become a champion of Europe with Dortmund, which nobody really expected to happen. But he's one of those players that can, he's a very talented player, and he can be the match winner if they nullify the threats that Real Madrid have. But it's going to be tough for Dortmund to beat Real Madrid, but it's a neutral venue. It's 90 minutes. Anything can happen, as we've seen in previous football finals, soccer finals over the last 10, 15, 20 years. So there's a story waiting to be written at Wembley. We just don't know who the star will be, who the hero will be, and if there's a villain, who that is going to be as well. So a lot to unlock and look forward to seeing on Saturday night. But it'll be Saturday daytime for you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, because with Borussia Dortmund, there's not a lot of star power. In fact, a lot of guys have been cast. I mean, James Santrum's not even in the England team, and we know how his stint in England with Manchester United went. Marcel Sabitzer, sorry, I'm picking on your ex-Manchester United,
That's
but
fine.
Mats Hummels went from Dortmund to Bayern Munich, back to Dortmund. Nicolas Solis in with the Dortmund. Amir Can was with Liverpool, and now it's
Mm-hmm.
captain Borussia Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think who else. Who's the Dutch defender? Ian Matson, on loan from Chelsea. Chelsea playing left back for Borussia Dortmund. So apparently Chelsea might need a left back. There's your left back playing for Dortmund on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. And Sebastian Haller as well. Obviously, he's overcome cancer in the last few years. He spent a bit of time in the Premier League with Southampton as well. So, there's loads of great stories if you look at the both teams. And you were saying there about the Man United players who are playing in this Champions League final. I think if you look at it seriously, Dylan, Man United have won the bigger trophy in the last 7 days with the FA Cup. I joke, obviously. No, it is ironic that two players that weren't deemed good enough to play for Manchester United this season are now playing in the biggest game in Europe. And they've got a chance to win the Champions League. So I think that says a lot about where Manchester United are as a team. Just one final word on Manchester United. Okay, yes, they won the FA Cup, but they finished 8th in the Premier League. That's not acceptable for a club of that stature, as I'm sure you would agree with Chelsea. The season they had, not the one just finished, but the one before when, they struggled to finish in the top half. I know they finished 6th this year, which is a tremendous effort from where they were. But still, 6th isn't good enough for Chelsea, and 8th certainly isn't good enough for Manchester United. So changes probably will happen at Manchester United. We still wait for the news of the manager, whether he's staying or whether he's going. But, okay, he won the FA Cup this season and the League Cup last season, but you're judged on where you finish in the league, and it's not good enough. And I think a change of manager is needed to shake up this club and the team.
And you knocked us to the Europa League, mate. Come on, man.
Yeah, the Europa League. It's better. It's better than the Europa Conference League, that's for sure. And obviously,
I think Chelsea might be in the Conference League because
you are now after Manchester United won the FA Cup. So yeah, sorry about that. But it's. The Europa League was frowned upon. It's just another Mickey Mouse competition that UEFA have brought in. But if you win that, you're into the Europa League. If you don't do well in the standard league that you're in, the domestic league, but you win the Europa League, then you're in the Champions League. So there is merit to these competitions. And from our point of view, Dylan, it's more football for us to watch and to get our head around and to decipher and make out who's doing well and things like that. We all love major finals, and tomorrow night we've got the conference final between Fiorentina and Olympiacos in Athens in Greece. So I'll be watching it. I'm sure you will as well, even though it's the third tier competition in Europe. So yeah, it's a good time of year, and then not so long after that we'll have the European Championships and the Copa America as well. So loads of football for us to watch. Loads of soccer, I should say, Dylan.
I'm sure Atalanta would say something else after handing Bayern Leverkusen the only loss of the season in Dublin.
Yes, what a time to lose your first game of the season. But what a tremendous final. And brilliant story for Lookman as well. Forgotten man of English football. He's had to go away and look elsewhere for his opportunities to play. And he reminded everybody against Atalanta in Dublin last Wednesday night that, I'm still a good footballer. I've scored a hat-trick in a major final. First person to do so in that competition for decades. I'm not exactly sure how long it would have been, but it's been a long time. And you just hope that will sort of kickstart his career and perhaps, I'm not saying Atalanta aren't a big team, but I'm sure there are bigger teams that he could possibly sign for. Chelsea, maybe.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, Chelsea's record with Italian players is not all that great.
Di Matteo worked out quite well.
Well, recently, I mean,
Well, yeah, recently.
Shinchenko, Lukaku, not that great.
No.
Well, the Dortmund may have been the surprise. I don't think anyone's surprised that Real Madrid's in the Champions League. How many European crowns has Real Madrid won? I think it's 14 now. 14,
15, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, they know how to get there. They know how to work their way through the group stage. They might sneak into the knockout stages, but once they are in the knockout stage, they just know how to get it done. It's like Tiger Woods in his prime. You just knew that he could just turn things on a sixpence. He could just turn around what looks like a bad round of golf into a sensational round of golf, and then he'll win the tournament. So, yeah, Real Madrid, they are the kings of European competition. And it's going to be, they are going to start as favourites, obviously. And I think they deserve to have that crown going into Saturday's final. But I've said it before, comes down to 90 minutes. Real Madrid could have a player sent off in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. Could be a mistake at the back, gifts Dortmund a goal. And the first goal in any final, Dylan, as you know, is very, very important. Even more so in the Champions League. I think it's now 10 years since a team who scored the first goal lost the final.
Don't tell me. Real Madrid won that game.
Yes, they did.
Do you know against Atletico Madrid in Lisbon? I think it was 2014.
Correct. Man, your memory is, your knowledge is A1. It's very, very good. Yep, you're right. 2014, so 10 years today. Well, 10 years this year. Since a team scored the first goal but lost the final. I went to extra time that time, but still, they lost the final. So, yeah, the first goal is important. And if Dortmund do get it, there's nothing to suggest they can't score the first goal. It could come from a corner, it could deflected shot, whatever. But the team who gets in front generally goes on to win the game. You'll know the scoreline in the last 4 Champions League finals, Dylan, don't you? 1-0, as you like to say over there. Yep. So if that doesn't tell you that the first goal is important, then nothing will.
By the way, for all of Real Madrid's success in the European Cup Champions League era, Real Madrid's never played a Champions League final at Wembley. They played Spurs, I think, when Spurs was rebuilding Whitehall Lane / Tottenham Stadium, but they've never played a final at Wembley.
No. That's weird, considering I don't know how many finals there have been at Wembley, but it just coincides with the fact that, success normally comes in cycles. And it'll be an opportunity for Carlo Ancelotti, who is the king of this competition as a player, as a manager. That's another box he can tick off. I have won the Champions League at the home of football, Wembley. So it'll be a very special moment for him. And obviously there are other English players involved in this final. Jude Bellingham, I didn't think he had pardon me, I didn't think he performed very well in the 2 semi-finals for Real Madrid. But the final at Wembley, come on. It's just, the stage is set for Jude Bellingham to grab that game by the scruff of the neck and make a name for himself. Listen, he already has made a name for himself, and it happens to be against the team that he left last summer. There are so many stories waiting to be finished. on Saturday night, and it would be very fitting if Jude Bellingham scored the winning goal to defeat his former team at Wembley. It's beautiful. You know, that's what sport's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, I didn't think Jude Bellingham was that good of a goal scorer. I thought it was more a box-to-box midfield, but he's been a huge goal scorer for Madrid this year. This year, playing a lot further forward than he probably will be for England this summer. But, I mean, revenge game? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, he's playing more in a more forward position at Real Madrid. But, you know, you look at the Dortmund team last year that he was involved with, and it wasn't a good team compared to this Real Madrid team. Real Madrid, you've got like Modric, who can just sort of hold back or whatever, Toni Kroos, you know, when he plays. They've got holding midfielders who will allow Jude Bellingham to go forward, give him a free role, do what he wants to do. He didn't have that opportunity in Dortmund last year. So, yeah, it's a different team that he's playing for now.
We mentioned Cole a little bit ago. Do you think Cole Ancelotti is Europe's best manager? Because obviously Sir Alex Ferguson won everything from Manchester United, and we've seen what Pep's done with Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Man City. Do you think Cole is in the running for Europe's best manager?
Yes, because not only has he won with Real Madrid, but he's also rebuilt those Real Madrid teams, and he's also won it with other teams as well. He's won it as a player as well. He's just such a knowledgeable person and such a likable person as well. He's won leagues pretty much every country that he has managed in, which, you know, Sir Alex Ferguson, apart from Scotland and England, he didn't do it abroad. I know he didn't have the opportunity. He chose to stay at Manchester United for all the time. Pep, yep, you mentioned Pep. He's done it in Spain, Germany, England. Where next? Italy, possibly. Who knows what lies ahead for Pep Guardiola. But Carlo Ancelotti, yeah, I think he has to be up there with the best. And okay, you mentioned Pep. He's won the Champions League twice. Is it?
Was Pep the manager in 2009?
I think he won it with Barcelona, didn't he?
I know he won a final a couple years later, but did he win the 2009 final?
2009 was Barcelona, Man United.
No, Pep won in 2009.
Right. So, how many times has he won it? Twice or three times?
3 times.
3 times. Okay. So yeah, I think Carlo Ancelotti, he deserves to be mentioned with the best managers in Europe, and he's not done yet. So yeah, this will be a great opportunity for him again to enhance his reputation, as you said, as one of Europe's finest managers, head coaches, whatever you want to say. So yeah, I think he'll be confident as well of doing that.
And plus Pep could play any side. I mean, that defensive counter-attacking strategy against Man City. If he needs to score a goal, he knows, okay, I need you to score a goal. Pushes the right buttons at the right time, knows, okay, Toni Kroos can only play 70 minutes. Well, then I've got Luka Modric for the last whatever minutes.
Correct.
But, like, his brain is going a million miles an hour. Like, even if Real Madrid's down 9-0 with 9 minutes and 59 seconds of 10 minutes stop and shot left, you never think Real Madrid's out of the game with that guy managing.
No, definitely not. I think it's 4 times that Ancelotti has won the Champions League, twice at Milan and twice at Real Madrid. So this will be a 5th for him. And, there's nothing better than being champion of your continent. It's okay beating every team in your country, in your domestic league, but to win 5 European Cups or Champions League, that takes some doing, because you are playing the best teams from the best leagues in the best competition. So, yeah, I think Carlo Ancelotti deserves all the credit that he gets. And, yeah, I'm sure he'll have a few tricks up his sleeve for Dortmund on Saturday.
With this game at Wembley, I mean, there's so much history involved. Maybe not as much at the newer Wembley compared to the old Wembley, but what makes Wembley the play? What makes Wembley like the cathedral, one of the cathedrals of world football?
Well, in England, we invented the game. Soccer was invented in England. Wembley is a home of soccer, if you want to call it that, and it's also the country where the best league in the world is played. So you can see why everything is sort of driven towards Wembley, and it's created some sensational moments, both the old Wembley and the new Wembley, and there'll be some special memories made on Saturday night between Real Madrid and Dortmund. It's just, yeah, I think all those things, and we love our soccer in England. I'm sure there'll be a lot of English fans attending the final who will be supporting one team or the other, or just being there for the occasion. It's a massive stadium. I know that corporates get a lot of tickets, which I don't agree with, but that's the way of the world these days. And yeah, I just think that because of the history of Wembley, it makes it a very special and unique place. It's an absolute nightmare to get out of after a game. You don't want to be sort of making your way to the train station immediately after a game, because you're just going to be standing in a queue of about 60,000 people, 70,000 people, going nowhere for ages. It's a terrible, terrible infrastructure to get through.
What you're saying, the underground lines of pain in the you-know-what?
Yes, it is. You're better off just waiting, because it's a final. You might as well just stay, watch the celebrations, watch the trophy lift, etc. Soak in the atmosphere, and just after the game's finished, just look around and think, well, yeah, what a great stadium. Okay, it's not as great as some of the stadiums like SoFi in America or the AT&T Stadium, things like that. But if you think of the history, and I know it's only been rebuilt in the last 20 years, whatever, but just you're also there, and you also feel the old Wembley and the memories that created. Manchester United winning the European Cup there in 1968, first English team to do so. There's a lot of history around that sort of part of the world where the old stadium was and the new stadium is.
I think there are only two venues in world football with that kind of historical significance. One of them is Wembley, and the other one is not in Europe, but we as football fans would love big matches there. And if you think not that long ago, there was a big match there. Can you think where it is?
Not in Europe, did you say?
Not in Europe.
Brazil?
You're thinking the Americana in New
Yeah.
York?
Or the Aztec, Mexico?
Oh, gosh, I hate that stadium. I hate Azteca. No, but it's the Americana in Rio. I mean, a place that can hold finals in 1950 and 2014. I mean, I remember hearing stories of how there were like a couple 100,000 fans watching the Brazil-Uruguay final, and how when Uruguay went ahead, like you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah. No, it's a special place. Yeah, I'm sure it'll hold a few more special matches between now and whenever, in the next few years anyway. But how do you see the game going on Saturday night? I mean, do you see Dortmund having any chance?
I mean, stranger things have happened in Wembley. I mean, nobody would have given Wigan a chance to beat Man City in the 2013 FA Cup final. Nobody gave Manchester United a prayer of beating Man City last week. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
stranger things have happened. I mean, Wembley is the place where crazy things can happen.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. It's a strange place, but strange in a good way because you don't know what's going to happen. You look at Leeds in the playoff final against Southampton; they just didn't turn up, and fair play to Southampton. Not many people would have given them a chance of beating Leeds for a place back in the Premier League, but they did. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some dramas on Saturday night, and I can't wait for it.
Do you have a favorite Champions League final goal that sticks out in your brain?
Yeah, it's got to be Zidane's, isn't it? Hampden Park, the sort of scissors kick, but he still stayed on his feet, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that's one. Obviously, the one and only goal scored by a fellow Northern Ireland man, 1968, George Best, when he weaved his way past the Benfica defenders. That obviously stands out. I have to mention that contractually because I'm from Northern Ireland. But yeah, I think the Zidane goal certainly takes some beating. What about you? Any goal in particular, apart from any that Chelsea have scored? Obviously.
Well, we've only scored 3 in the Champions League final.
That is true.
We've only scored 3. I mean, although that Drogba header, I don't know if anybody's made a better header of a ball in a final than Drogba.
No, it would be remiss of me also to not mention Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's goal. But obviously another one that stands out for me is Gareth Bale's scissors kick against Liverpool, the Karius final, as it's been called. That was a special goal as well. Fair play to Gareth Bale. He was a special player.
He came off the bench, pissed off that he wasn't starting, and made sure Liverpool made sure you're not going to beat me today. I'm going to score the best goal in my life.
Yep. When he has a bee in his bonnet, as we say over here, he is he's quite formidable. He's hard to stop. And yes, he did have a lot to be pissed off about, as you said. And the Real Madrid fans didn't thank him for that a lot of the time. And that's why the flags were produced, wasn't it? It was golf, Wales, Real Madrid. That was his priorities when he was playing in Spain. He always loved playing golf, and then he always loved playing for Wales. And Real Madrid were third on his list of priorities, which didn't go down too well with the natives in Madrid. But listen, he helped them win. He played in 4 Champions League finals, winning all 4. And he scored some tremendous goals in those finals. Brilliant player.
Yes, we found out because Gareth Bale scored the penalty against the U.S. in 2022.
Correct. Yep, that's right.
Actually, you know what? We picked on Liverpool. How about Steven Gerrard's goal against Mullan in 2005? Because Liverpool doesn't make that comeback without Gerrard's goal.
You're asking a Manchester United fan about a goal scored by Liverpool?
Hey.
No, it was, and that was one of the best comebacks in a Champions League final. And yeah, it looked as though it was all done and dusted, didn't it? And as you said, they got that one goal, and then, if memory serves me right, they got the second shortly afterwards. And then you kind of felt that momentum was with Liverpool for the rest of the game. They got the equaliser, went to extra time, and got one on penalties. Jerzy Dudek, he was the hero that night. And yeah, can we not talk about Liverpool anymore?
By the way, that first penalty, I don't know if Milan's first penalty take of that night, but that might have been the worst penalty I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
almost rivaled Lionel Messi's miss in the at MetLife a few years ago.
Yeah, there's been a few bad penalties. I can send you a link.
Gosh.
People who tried to do a Panenka and getting it all wrong. Yeah, I love penalty shootouts because you don't know what the penalty taker is going to do. When they try and be cocky and they chip it. There was one quite recently. I can't remember who it was. It might have been the semi-final. Yeah, it was. It was Champions League semi-final. Somebody took, I don't think it might have been Man City. It was Silva, was it?
Yeah.
Silva just dinked it down the middle and the goalkeeper just stood there and caught it. He didn't move. It was Silva, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah. There was some kerfuffle beforehand. The ball went into the crowd and it took ages for the ball to come back. And that could have played with Bernardo Silva's mindset. And he tried to be cocky. It was Silva, definitely. He just sort of dinked it down the middle of the goal. And the goalkeeper, he dived left and he dived right for every other penalty. But for this one, he just stood there and he just caught it and he made Silva look like a right idiot. Will it go to penalties this weekend? That's probably Dortmund's best chance of winning the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but we'll see who'll be in Real Madrid's goal because Real Madrid's got a couple injury concerns going into the game. It looks like, I don't know what you've been reading in the UK, but it looks like Thibaut Courtois will start the final. Lennon, who was the hero of the quarterfinal penalty shootout against Man City, looks like he'll be on the bench. Courtois coming back from a major knee from a torn ACL, looks like he'll reassume the post. I mean, Courtois is a big man, as both of us know. I mean, he was the Chelsea goalkeeper for a few years. Actually played a Champions League final for Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid. But he's got good and bad Wembley history.
Yes, Ancelotti was asked about his goalkeeper yesterday or the day before, and he says, Courtois, I think, has played the last 4 league games for Real Madrid, but Lumen has got Real Madrid this far in the Champions League, so he's got a big decision to make there, but it's a good dilemma to have, basically. And what was I going to say? Courtois, he was man of the match, wasn't he, against Liverpool a couple of years ago? And I don't know if the quotes made it over to you in America, but he was basically saying, I am the best goalkeeper in the world right now. I didn't get the credit I should have got in England. That was obviously headline news over here because he'd spent so long playing for Chelsea in England. So that was basically 2 fingers up to the Premier League. Yep, you didn't respect me, and now I've come back and I've helped beat Liverpool. So
That might have been a shot at Jose Mourinho for playing Peter Cech over Courtois, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, well, again, that's a nice dilemma to have 2 very good goalkeepers there. But goalkeepers are eccentric. They always feel as though they should be the star players, and when it comes to a penalty shootout and they save the all-important penalty, then yeah, they are the hero. But we shall see who Ancelotti goes for in goal. But it's a very strong Real Madrid side. No matter where you look, there's not many weaknesses in it.
Who do you think? One word. Who do you think Carlo Ancelotti plays in goal, Lunin or Courtois?
Courtois, because of his experience in the big games. And he's played the last 4 games. He didn't have to play Courtois the last 4 games unless he had this in mind. Who do you think?
Courtois. I mean, Courtois played in finals, knows what the big game's like. Plus, he's a bigger goalkeeper, so if it went through a shootout, Courtois got those long levers.
Yeah.
But I think it's a question mark whether Real Madrid's other return or one of Real Madrid's other injured stars, I I hate these Brazilian names. Can you pronounce his name?
Which?
The Real Madrid Brazilian center back, either Maiteo.
Let me see. Hold on. I'll do something.
I need to take Portuguese next.
The Brazilian, who?
Number Brazilian center back.
Milito?
Yeah, either Maiteo.
Yeah, number 3, Militao.
Militao, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be playing though. I think Carlo Ancelotti will stick with Nacho.
Yeah, I think you're right. And isn't this Nacho's last game?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I think it is. I think he's been moving on to other pastures next season, so this will be his last game. And there's always stories like that. This will be their last game, etc., because it's the last game of the season.
You know who else's last game for Real Madrid Saturday will be?
Yes, Tony Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's had such a career. I think he is the most decorated player in Real Madrid history. Did I see that the other week when they won the La Liga title?
He's got a few winners' medals.
Yeah, 23, 24, something like that. So yeah, that's a great. You couldn't write a better script to end your career at Real Madrid, help them win the Champions League again, and ride off into the sunset.
And then go represent. You could finish your career playing for Germany at a home Euros.
Absolutely. I don't think they'll win that tournament, but you never know. You never know. It's not the greatest Germany team, but home advantage, as we've seen so many times before. You look at England, the final was at Wembley 3 years ago, and it helped them get to the final. They played all their matches at Wembley, I think, because the tournament was spread over, and because of COVID, some places like Dublin couldn't host games. So those games were handed over to England. But I think England, Three Lions played all their matches at Wembley, if I'm not mistaken. Bar one, was it? Okay. Where was that game played?
The quarterfinal in Rome.
That's right. Yes. So yeah, home advantage does make a massive difference in the European Championships. Obviously, when England hosted the Euros in 1996, they got to the semi-finals. So it does. It helps you get. It can help you get to the semi-finals or the final. We'll just wait and see how Germany fare this year.
By the way, you know me. I am the trivia savant, so I want some Champions League European Cup trivia.
Right. Okay. Obviously, for work purposes, I have been doing a bit of research on the Champions League. Let me see. Right. Which country has provided the most goal scorers in European Cup finals, Champions League Cup finals?
Do you mean country that they've played for, or the team they played for?
No, the players come from this country to have scored in a final. So, for instance, if I'd asked you how many Wales players have scored, Gareth Bale, but he didn't play for a Welsh team. So, yeah. Which country has provided the most goal scorers in a Champions League or European Cup final?
Oh, so these guys have been, so for instance, Lionel Messi is from Argentina, so it would be like Argentina or Spain, correct?
Well, you tell me, who do you think, which country has provided the most goal scorers?
Trying to think back to those great. Germany?
Germany has provided 21 goal scorers. and they are second on the list.
Oh. Yeah, I was trying to think of all those great German teams in the 70s with Gott Muller. Gosh, I'm trying to think. No, but he didn't score in the final. Not England?
No. England have provided 16 goal scorers, and they're fourth on the list.
I'm gonna be really annoyed at this. Wow, Italy?
They're third on the list with 19.
Why am I getting all the other ones except one? Okay, Spain.
Yes, 29 goal scorers have come from Spain, which you made, you were going down the right path there by saying the great teams from Germany in the 1970s, but you forgot about Real Madrid winning it how many years in a row in the 50s and 60s?
5 years.
Exactly, and they didn't have many foreign players back then, so yeah, Spain.
Yeah, all the European players I remember for like Liverpool were either like Irish, Welsh, Scottish, or England.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What was the other one that I have? Hold on, bear with me. Right. 6 players. No, hang on. I don't know how to word that. 1, 2. Right. 6 goals have been scored by players from Africa. Name the countries that they represented.
Ooh. Well, Didier Drogba was from the Ivory Coast.
1.
Oh gosh. Now you've got Now I've got to think about this one. How far back do I have to go?
Not that far back.
Oh gosh. No, but he wouldn't have scored. He would. Wait, what was the question again? 6 players from Africa have scored.
No. 6 goals have been scored by players from Africa. Name the countries.
Huh. Did somebody from Nigeria score in a final?
No.
Because Morris didn't score for City in 21 or 23, so that's not. So it can't be Algeria, right? Maybe.
No, then are you saying that as an answer?
I'm trying. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm trying to think. Who scored Liverpool's second goal in Egypt?
Yep.
Mo Salah penalty in 2019.
Yep. So that's Egypt and the Ivory Coast, you've said.
Didn't Liverpool have a second goal in that game against Spurs?
They did.
And don't tell me it was another African player.
It wasn't.
Let's see.
It was a Euro.
Senegal, because Mane scored in 2018.
Okay, Senegal 3.
Oh gosh. Now, how did I get the easy ones or the hard ones?
You've got to go a bit further back for the remaining 2 countries. I'll tell you, it's 2 countries.
Wow. gosh, I'm trying to think. Have they been to a recent World Cup?
What, the player or the country?
The country.
I believe so, yes.
And then when
We're going back sort of 15, 20 years ago for one, and we're going a bit further back for the other. What year were you born, Bill?
92.
Right, okay. It was 5. Well, okay, I've just given you the year. It was 5 years before you were born.
So would have been 87. Oof. I don't think Bayern Munich would want to remember that game.
No, they will not. Good memory, by the way. That's good.
Yeah, Lothar Matthäus was like the king of his teams blowing like 1-0 leads in European finals. Glad you knew. Oh gosh. Cameroon?
That's one of them, yes.
I don't know how I guessed that.
Samuel Eto'o.
Oh yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. Samuel Eto'o for Barcelona
Yes.
in 06, 09.
Correct.
Oh gosh. I don't know about the other one.
No, you actually did mention the country.
What, Algeria?
Yes.
Who was it?
Rabah Madje scored for Porto.
Wow, 87. In 87. Yeah, who would think that Portuguese guys could do well in Europe? But Benfica and Portugal did. Benfica and Porto did. I mean, and then of course Jose Mourinho won a Champions League in 2004.
Yes, he did.
I do have one question for you.
Okay.
One person has won a Champions League final as a player and coach at Wembley. Who was it?
Oh, blame me. I can't remember where all these finals were held.
I'll give you a hint. He just recently coached a final at
Well, I was going to say Pep would be the obvious.
Yes,
against Sampdoria in that final to forget.
1992.
Yeah. That's right. And then Barcelona against Man United. Yeah.
2011, where Messi starred on the world's biggest stage.
Yeah, didn't he score a header? Which, when you think of his size and who was probably playing for Man United that night, like could have been Rio Ferdinand, for instance. I can't remember. But you wouldn't expect Lionel Messi to score a header. Vidic might have been playing in that final. I'm not.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I know Ray Mooney scored United that night.
Yeah, he scored the opener, didn't he? He scored the first goal, I think.
I don't know if it was. Yeah.
Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic, centre halves, and Messi scored a header.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Rooney scored the equaliser. Sorry, Pedro scored in the 27th minute.
I would not have thought Lionel Messi would score a header.
I know. Crazy, isn't it? You look at the bench for Man United that night. Chris Smalling, Anderson, Nani, Darren Fletcher, Paul Scholes, Michael Owen.
That looked like the 98. That looked like the 98 England team.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good starting 11 for Man United. Edwin van der Sar, Patrice Evra,
Not
Carrick.
not the youngest team to ever be in a final.
No, that's true. But you look at the Barcelona team, Valdez in goal. Pardon me. Alves, Mascherano, Piqué, Abidal, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, David Villa, Pedro, and some guy called Lionel Messi. Unbelievable.
And yet Chelsea beat them the next year. How the heck did we beat Barcelona?
That's a good question.
With 10 men.
That's the beauty. That is the beauty of soccer, isn't it?
Okay, who do you think wins? Will the yellow wall be celebrating in Wembley, or will Real Madrid win Europe's biggest prize and Europe's biggest cathedral?
I think it comes down to the experience of playing in this game recently. I'm not sure how many players in the Dortmund team have played in a Champions League final. It's easier to count the Real Madrid players who haven't played in a Champions League final. Jude Bellingham being one, obviously. But you have to say that experience counts for a hell of a lot. Ancelotti, the manager, up against a manager who's never played in or never managed in the Champions League final before. We saw against Manchester City when they were like losing and they needed 2 goals to win. You throw on Joselu, who scores twice. Joselu, a reject from Newcastle, is suddenly the hero for Real Madrid in the semi-final of the Champions League, and he's not going to start the final. Substitutions like that. I know that there's a lot of luck involved in it and things like that, and things have to pan out certain ways, but I'm going for Real Madrid. I've got a Barcelona flag scarf just over there, but there's no denying that Real Madrid are a quality team. If everything falls into place, they should win this comfortably. But as I keep saying, Dylan, strange things happen in cup finals. As you said, Man United didn't have a prayer against Man City. Wigan hadn't a hope against Man City in the FA Cup final all those years ago, but they did. They won. So Dortmund have their chance, but Real Madrid have to be off their game slightly, and Dortmund have to be at the very best of their game for the whole 90 minutes. And I don't think that's going to happen. You look at the bench. And the players that Real Madrid have to come on. You take Cruz off, you put Modric on. Come on, there's... the frightening thing is as well, Dylan, they're going to get stronger next season. They've signed a Brazilian, Hendrick, haven't they?
They might get some guy named Kylian Mbappe. I don't know. He's okay.
I forgot about him. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And this is them if they win it. If they'd lost, they probably would have gone out and bought even more players. But they've already got 2 of the best players in the world joining them, and they're probably going to join a Champions League winning team. It's not fair.
I'm going to make this easy. You know what's the U.S.'s favorite line when we beat Mexico 2-0, 2-0? Well, on Saturday, it'll be 2-0 when Real Madrid beats Borussia Dortmund by that score.
Yeah. I mean, all we can hope for is a good final where both teams really sort of just go for it, But I think Real Madrid can just rip you apart at ease. And I'm expecting them to win by 2-0, 3-0, maybe more.
All right, Charlie. Thanks for hopping on. Can't wait for this game. This is going to start off a crazy month and a half of football with the Euros in Germany and Copa America in the U.S. I have no idea what's going to. I can't wait to watch all these games. We might not sleep for the next month and a half watching all these matches, right?
No. Here's a question for you before we go. Which team is most likely to make a Champions League final first? Your Chelsea or Man United?
Oh, definitely Chelsea. Definitely.
Oh, oh, really? Okay. Clip this. Just keep it for well, if we're still alive to see either team compete in a Champions League final ever again. Interesting. Okay, we'll see.